Hopefully you don't mind. I'm going to stay seated. But before we start, I want you to just focus on your breath. We're going to just take an inhale, big inhale from the nose, and breathe it out the mouth. Big inhale. One more time, big inhale. And exhale. We're going to do this one more time. We're going to hold it at the top. So we're going to big inhale, as big as you can. That prana, that chi, that life force. Hold it, hold it. And just sigh it all the way out. Nice, nice, nice. This allows us to be present. And in presence, we get the opportunity to have a new experience, an opportunity to connect. And I always say, fortunate and unfortunately, I learned this way of breathing in the hospital after playing 8 years in the pros. I played 6 years in New Orleans. I was in Houston. Then I went to Jacksonville. And I was playing the Buffalo Bills' second game home opener in Jacksonville, making a tackle I had made millions of times. I played linebacker, so it's the alpha male position, so we go and hit hard, right? And on this particular play, I end up on my back, kind of like what you're going to do here shortly in Shavasana. I ended up on my back. And as a gladiator, being vulnerable, got 80,000 people in the stands and millions watching, I'm in this posture that I feel is weak for me. But in fact, it's the most powerful posture we can be in. It's when we're open. But I didn't know that at the time. So I was like, this is embarrassing, get me out of here. But my body's not moving. I'm saying, Keith, get up. A very interesting thing happens when you have an idea that you're hurt, but you can't feel a thing. I was in that position. I was diagnosed with a spinal contusion, my cervical spine, my C2 through C4, fused. I suffered paralysis for about 90 days. I went from one moment being fully functional, capable, to the next moment flat on my back, but in that most powerful position, though. And ironically enough, in the hospital, a nurse came to me. She said, do you know what happens when you breathe? The tangibles are behind what happens when you breathe. On the inhale, the diaphragm pushes down. On the exhale, it pushes up. We take about 10,000 breaths a day. So your chest, your heart, lungs, they don't need your help to breathe. But what gets stuck, right? The internal organs. As Dr. Sebi would say, in the liver, anger exists. In the kidneys, fear. In the belly is the worry. So with our breath, we get an opportunity to participate in our own healing. 10,000 breaths a day. So when we can contribute to our own healing. And when I realized that dynamic in the hospital, I realized I didn't have to be the victim anymore. No matter what the circumstance was, I could participate in my healing. That's an empowered state. And when I was coming through the whole experience, I had realized I had found myself in this role, this character. And I wanted to create something else for myself because I was miserable that whole time. So the second question I'm going to ask you tonight is, when did you first realize that you had a relationship going on with yourself? And ironically enough, I was 31 when I realized this. And the news I want to share with you is that whether you knew or you didn't, you still have this rapport going on with yourself. So when I was trying to, convince myself I love myself and be patient with myself, compassionate with myself is like, hold on, you hadn't treated me like this. You always put me in compromised position. I don't even know who you are. I had to build this relationship with myself. And it started here on my mat. It started here in my meditation to get my mind around what do I want to create. And then in sports, we have the practice field, so we have these ideas that we want to implement in life. But here's an idea that you can take, this compassion and love that you want to create for yourself in your life, put it here on your mat. Because you have an idea that you think you're being patient with people, compassionate with people, loving with people, and you expect that as well. But we're not able to extend that to ourselves. And on top of that, we want to take all that chaos and take it into a relationship and say, I love you. We gonna do this. We're going to put it all on red and ride with it. And the reality is we come up with the chaos. We come up with the same things happening. This is a concept that we can take to put this compassion, put this investment into yourself. I have a saying, if you have equity in the building, you own it. So when you own this equity in your building, you know what you put in your body. You invest into your physical movement because you can take all the nutrition you want, but you got to circulate it through your body. You got to embody this concept. This idea ain't just going to come through a formality. We say, I love you. And I always tell people when someone says unconditional love, I got unconditional love for you, run. Because love in itself is complete. Love in itself is complete. And if you want to put another adjective on top of it, say unconditional gratitude, because that's love in its continuous form. You got to stay with it. It's day in, day out, the work. We have an idea that we think we're strong because we have the aesthetics. I used to look over to the left and right when I first started yoga, and I don't know how old she was, but she had a lot of gray in her hair, and I had all this muscle, right? But I was like struggling to hold this plank. I thought I was strong. Where's my emotional concept? So the breath also helps this emotional maturity to develop. The concept of yoga meditation is the human developmental aspect that we get an opportunity to have. To be patient, compassionate, again, with ourselves. Again, we have the idea that we want others to give it, but we got to create it with ourselves. And I'm going to give you another tidbit on this as well. When you go through the sun salutation today, because I studied Hinduism for about a year. I was just intrigued. I'm a student. I wish I was a student like this in Texas A&M, but I didn't like to be a student. But anyway, that's a whole nother conversation. But when you go through the concept of the sun salutation today, I want you to think about this. We start typically in child's pose. It's like you're birthed into this reality, this concept that you want to be in. And then we go to the variations of the warrior one, the warrior two, the warrior three. And that's representing how you've done it, how you think you're doing it. And then we die in Shavasana. And it's an idea to reflect. As I get off my mat, as I'm doing it, to observe how I'm doing it when I get up, right? I can contemplate this. I can reincarnate myself, the characters, the roles that I have been playing in, the saying, I'm not this, I'm not that. I can recreate myself every day that I come off my mat. And that's the power that we have. We create this. We create this opportunity. Even in the chaos, we create this. I had a talk the other day about abundance. Abundance is a frequency. In abundance, you have to be open. And the idea, we typically want to think of the high points only, but in abundance, we also have to take the good, the bad, as it comes. We have to check in with how can we take the compliments? If we can't take the compliments, we can't be in abundance. If we can't take the criticism, we can't be in abundance. Because we cannot compartmentalize life. It all goes together. And so with your practice, you get an opportunity to put it all together. I just want to put that on your mind, right? So thank you so much for allowing me to share this practice.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed what you saw, like and subscribe to our channel. Go watch our next video. Follow us at Yogi Athlete through the social media on our links below, and we hope to see you soon.